I'm here with UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. He takes on Alex Pereira at UFC 281 next week on November 12th at Madison Square Garden. A big opportunity. Now, you've said a lot, particularly this year, about lapping the division on your own terms. Do you ever worry about becoming complacent, having to fight the same guys again and again and again?
Not worry about it, but if I look back, if I cast my mind back a little bit, these last three guys, I think it was Vettori first, then Whitaker. Was it Whitaker? Which one was it? Vettori, Whitaker, and then Cannonier. Each of those camps were better than the next one, because Eugene said, the last camp was good. How are you going to make this next one, like a step up? And I did, but I still think those three camps were just kind of like, I knew I was going to them up. And then when I got in the cage with them, within like round 2, 3, they start to like, okay, let me just survive this. So, it takes two to tango, and I'm right there ready to dance. But this next guy, he's ready to dance. So this camp has been my best camp. Yeah, everyone says that all the time. This is the best camp I've ever had.
Right.
But I don't even have to say it. You'll see. If you look at my body, you'll see that I've been working. And then you ask my teammates, any one of these guys, they'll tell you. We just finished sparring. Our last sparring sessions, and I've not said much about this fight. Like, I've just been keeping my mouth shut and working. So, because he's got bragging rights. I'm the champ. Without me, he wouldn't be here. But
right.
Yeah, he's got bragging rights. So I let him say what he wants to say and do his little skits. I'll do my bit when it comes time to get in the cage.
Well, speaking of Alex, not necessarily new meat. As you mentioned, you have had fought before in kickboxing, but he kind of is relatively new in terms of MMA. Do you feel like this has rejuvenated and your drive and your passion as a competitor, because it isn't somebody that you haven't fought before? Well, in terms of MMA, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like it's made me have to dig deeper than I ever have in a training camp. I've been to places in this camp that I have never been before, and I can see why. I can see the fruits of my labor, even the way my weight is right now. My weight's falling. Whenever I get to like wherever we're fighting, my body's just like, oh, we're here now, starts to just drop the weight. It's like my body knows what's happening, because I've done this so many times. It's amazing what it can do, and I have to be like, yo, chill. So when I say practicing patience, I mean that, because my body's like, can we go now? Can we go now? I'm like, chill, relax. So yeah, still practicing patience.
Well, when you talk about patience, and you've obviously have been fighting the same people the last couple of fights, and particularly after the last one, I feel like you got a lot of criticism. Like, do you feel like that's unjust? Because, like you said, it takes two to tango, and those guys also aren't really bringing it to you to be able to get the job done either. So do you feel like, that's kind of motivated you even more for this one?
Yes. I think it's unjust, and yes, it has lit a fire under me. It's just, this reminds me of the Romero thing, and then I was like, oh, what? Like, you guys, because we live in this TikTok era where people's attention span is just like that, so they forget the classics that I've brought over the years, and I'm like, how dare you call me boring when I'm in the 5th round with Cannonier, I'm touching him,
right.
Peppering him, hitting him with right hands, left hands, and he's trying to survive, And yeah, it was also my fault as well. I should have had the right, maybe, shot selection to be able to get to him, but I'm not going to risk something unnecessarily, because you see what happens when you risk unnecessarily in this game out of nowhere. So yeah, it's not just me. It takes them as well. So for them to criticize me, it's just because I'm great. I'm the champion. It's happened to the Silvas, the John Joneses, the GSPs, even in boxing, it's happened to the greats. Whenever you're on top for so long, people just want to see you fall. So of course they're going to criticize me, but I'm just going to keep being great.
Right, and speaking of being great, how do you find a balance to still continue to be authentically you? Because you've never really strayed from like being so original and who you are with the Crocs. I love it. But we've seen time and time again, people rise to the stardom that you've reached, and it gets to their head, and they start, the things outside of the cage start affecting and impacting their performance inside the cage. How do you keep yourself humble and just authentically you?
Thank you. Humble. I'm the most humble champion in history, because I just am. I don't have to tell people. But I just know, like, for me, it's the people around me that keep me humble, you know, the teammates I have, you know, when you have guys smacking you in the face or slamming you down every other day. Yeah, that's really, you know, that's real humility. I'm not this kind of champion that has fake humility just to get likes. Nah, I'm really about it because I have the right people around me to keep me grounded. But yeah, they also don't try and hold me down. So they let me fly, you know, because I'm a peacock. I got to fly. Yeah.
I'm a peacock, let me fly.
But yeah, so they don't, because you have people around you sometimes. I've seen people who, family members, friends, they get real weird and they try and like, the weird thing is, especially in our culture, like Aussie, New Zealand culture, you have certain people who try and keep you down and they feel like,
syndrome.
they feel like it's their responsibility. I'm like, who the fuck are you? So, someone's got to keep you on the ground. I'm like, who the fuck are you? I don't know you. But yeah, these guys, they know me.
All right.
And they keep me grounded. But then when it's time to fly, yeah, they don't hold me down. They let me fly.
They support you. I love that. And now, when you talk about, speaking of meteoric rises to fame, you've had a very impressive one. We're now seeing Alex fighting for a UFC title after only having 7 MMA fights. I'm sure you're going to get asked this question a lot, but do you feel like he deserves this title shot? Or do you feel like he's only getting it because of your name value and the history that you guys have?
Yes. I think I've lapped the division. You know, I've beaten everyone there is to beat in the top 5. I've cleared the path for him. And yeah, without me, he wouldn't be here. Without me, he'd have a tougher road to the title, and he would have got exposed a long time ago. But I'll expose him November 12th. So it is off me. Everything I've done, he's just trying to live off. So yeah, it's off me, but he can enjoy it while it lasts because it's not going to last very long. Well,
speaking of that, what have you thought of his UFC tenure so far? Is there anything that has stood out, that has maybe surprised you, impressed you, or, you know, that type of stuff?
Not surprised me. I knew he was going to do what he did because of the matchups he had. I was like, oh yeah, he's going to beat that guy. Oh, he's going to beat that guy. Even the last fight, I was like, I tried to warn Sean, tried to tell him, and he thought I was joking. He was talking about my hentai obsession. I was like, it's not really an obsession. I like animation. But nothing surprised me. I think I'm glad it all happened the way it is because now we're here. And this is the opportunity that I'm supposed to have. It's a weird thing with how life works, the universe. You just have to accept it. And I'm like, all right, cool. Because I let this go a long time ago. I never chased this. I never thought like, I got to get that one back. Right. I'm emotionally intelligent enough to be like, okay, that was that. And now this is now. And I'm not the same person I was back then. And yeah, I look forward to showing people.
I love it. Well, like, when you kind of look at your own tenure in the UFC, I feel like a big component to why I feel like you've been so successful is because nobody has really been able to match your IQ and your striking IQ when they get in the cage. Like, they think they do, but then they get in there and they can't seem to figure out the puzzle. Do you feel, because Alex does have the similar background that he poses potentially the biggest puzzle as a competitor?
No, I don't think so. He's very one-dimensional. He's early on in this game as well. So I'm even glad to get him now. And yeah, he's early on in this game. I don't know who he has in his corner. I know he has Glover and this boxing coach. I don't know what their background is. I don't really mind. I just worry about me. But no, I definitely know he's not as smart as me in the cage. I know that for a fact.
Well, like, when you look at both of you stylistically, it's very much like volume versus power type thing. You know, he's very known for that left hook. Is there something that you guys have like seen on tape, or, you know, seen something of how he sets it up? Because he generally doesn't telegraph a lot of his strikes, but is there something that you've kind of seen that you know, okay, I'm going to be able to shut that down?
Yes.
Obviously, you don't have to go into detail. But how do you see this one going? Because, like, I mean, we just seen him post, last week, of him doing I think it's like a fight simulation on the UFC game of like.
I heard about this. I haven't seen it yet.
Him knocking about saying something along the lines of like, oh, this is what's going to happen soon. Like, he's generally like not much of a trash talker. Like, he's generally pretty subdued. I mean, that could be partly because of the translation from Portuguese to English. But how do you kind of take that when somebody's kind of been quiet for so long, then now all of a sudden when it comes to fight week, it's going to start posting and saying stuff like that?
It's giving Robert Whittaker before UFC 243. You know, I said the same thing. I'm like, you're acting out of character. It's giving Costa vibes as well before 253. I was like, why are you making skits? Yeah, I'm like making all these skits. But yeah, I didn't say anything back then. I don't react. And, you know, you're asking me about it now, so I have to respond. But I'm not going to respond properly till we're in that octagon. Then I'll respond properly. And when I respond properly, he'll understand what I'm saying.
Well, speaking of this weekend, like obviously you don't look past each of your next opponents.
I literally, even this one, I don't know who's next. I've focused everything on this fight. Everything. Those who know me and my lifestyle before, like not before this fight, maybe like 2 years ago, even when I was in the UFC, becoming champion, how I lived, it was crazy because I had different things and people in my life at the time. Now, the way I live, man, especially for this camp, it's been, and it's so cliche, like, oh, I've had the best camp. Yeah, this is the best camp I've ever had to this date. And I can't wait to see what the next one's like, but I'm not focusing on anything else but this guy. Because if I don't get past him, you know, I'm back to the drawing board. I have to go back and, you know, start again. So, I'm focused everything on this fight.
Right. Well, you've talked sometimes about side missions, and you called the Jan Blachowicz fight a side mission. And you've kind of mentioned something, you know, along the lines of potentially moving to 205 permanently. Is that, you know, considering you are lapping the division on your own terms, do you kind of want to maybe go up to 205 permanently a little bit sooner, or?
I like 185. I want to run 185, but then I will do another side mission, even without the belt, just to have that win at 205, and then just say I did it, you know. But
is there any particular name?
Nah.
In mind? No.
Nah. I just because it'd be fun, because I know I can do it. I know I can do it. So yeah, I just want to tick that one off.
Right.
And then come back to 185 and rule with my iron black fist.
You talk a lot about legacy, and the legacy that you have for yourself and you leave for your family and stuff like that. How close are you to completing that legacy mission or goal, like in terms of MMA? Because I mean, you've competitively, you've got over 100 martial arts fights, and you've done it all in kickboxing, you've done it all in MMA. Like, how close are you to that?
I haven't thought about that. That's a good question, but I know I've done a lot. I know I'm definitely past the halfway point of my career. I'm still loving this. After this fight, I'll explain more. After this fight. But yeah, I'm still loving this game. I'm loving what I'm learning in all aspects of this game. And yeah, I just want to keep beating everyone. I said this before I had even gone to the UFC. I said this before I even got the belt. I just want to keep fighting. I love fighting. I love competing and testing myself against another trained killer. And yeah, after this fight, I'll go more into detail about that. But yeah, I'm not slowing down anytime soon. I won't slow down before. I would literally just like skirt when it's time, and I'm like, right, see ya, and I'm out. Yeah, I'm not gonna slow down. I'm just gonna hit the brakes and bounce. But right now, my foot's on the gas.
I love it. Now, speaking of foot on the gas, at the start of this year, you said that you wanted to fight 3 times in 2022, which was more than last year. We're now coming up to the 3rd fight this year. How many times do you want to fight in 2023?
3.
3 again?
Yeah, I think 3 is the optimum number, because I get to have a little. I have a break in between, also help my teammates with their fights, but also, yeah, I have enough time to get ready for my camp. So I think 3 is like the optimum number. If any, like maybe, I don't know, has a champion ever taken a short notice fight? Maybe, if something happens and they want me to step up and the cheddar made it better, then maybe, why not? But I think 3 is like the right number for me right now as a champion, because back in the day you had guys fight once a year, twice a year.
Right.
But I want to be an active champion, like Volkanovski says, you know. We're different. Yeah, he's a different beast as well.
Yeah,
I love watching his reign right now, and the way he's just,
the confidence he's exuding is phenomenal.
I don't, because I know back in the day, you know, he's a nice guy. I know he's a nice guy. He's a real humble guy.
I fought on cards with him back in Australia. Like, to see from then to where he's now, it's like amazing.
I love his speech after his last fight. He's pretty much just telling, like, get your together, then you can have a shot at the strap.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Alex, obviously UFC 284 is in Perth. Do you want to fight on that card, or do you want to let him have that moment on home?
I don't have to let him. It's his moment. It's
Right.
already his moment. No, that's his moment. It's him versus Islam for the lightweight strap. So I'm going to sit there and watch him become the UFC lightweight champion as well. So I just want to watch that with 2 bourbons in hand. Let's go.
No
That didn't
shoeies?
look right. Meme that. Damn it. That was beer on bourbons.
Thank you so much for taking the time
we
today.
done?
Good luck against
Easy.
Alex Pereira
Yeah.
next week at UFC 281.
Easy.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.